Hello everyone, amateur meteorologist. First in weather here, it is August 13th, 2020, and we now have Tropical Storm Josephine. So it organized itself, got itself together. As you can see, it's a very small storm. Its tropical storm wind field is very small, probably less than 50 or maybe even 60 miles. And again, it's projected to stay as tropical storm or maintains tropical storm status, but then slowly weaken into a depression as it really starts to interact with some external forces that are going to force it essentially to make that sharp northeastwardly turn. So it won't really have much impact for the eastern seaboard, besides just a bit of a rough surf and a few bigger waves. As it makes that northeasterly turn. So this is the 5 p.m. advisory number 9. It's moving west-northwest at 16 miles per hour. That should change by Sunday or early Monday, and it will start to make that more northeasterly, north-northeast turn, and sustained winds are at 45 miles per hour. So again, this is a very weak storm, and it's not really expected to strengthen into a hurricane at all, or even a strong tropical storm, and it should quickly weaken back into a depression. Now here are the ensemble plots. As you can see, there's very good agreement that this will make that sharp northeasterly turn. Only one model straying from the consensus, so you can pretty much guarantee now that this is not really going to be an impact maker for the eastern United States, and will likely make that northeastward turn. Now here's the satellite view for the entire continental lower 48, and as you can see, the mid-Atlantic, eastern seaboard, and even the southeast have just been socked today with constant downpours in isolated locations. PWatt values just out of the roof. We have PWatt values approaching 1.75, 2 even. So the atmosphere is very moist, very soaked, lots of moisture in the air, and with that little low trying to develop off here, that could actually become a tropical system later on this week. We're just seeing an influx of moisture really just being driven into the region, and with that stalled front, you're seeing a bunch of random downpours just forming and then drifting. And with all the rain on top of Isaias last week, the rain now is really leading to some problems. We're seeing flooding issues and flash flooding in many locations. Fortunately, that flash flooding has been isolated when it does occur. It's not widespread, but it is happening in a lot of areas. You're seeing widespread ponding, however, because of the widespread 5 to 6 inches of rain at least in the past week, down from South Carolina all the way up to New Jersey and Connecticut. So that really is a problem. And with the stalled front essentially running down the East Coast like this, but further south like this, you're really seeing a lot of rain form, a lot of downpours that really dump 1 to 2 inches of rain in as quickly as about 30 minutes to an hour, which is really causing some problems for low-lying areas and locations that are prone to flooding. So definitely be on the lookout today, tomorrow, even Sunday, as that stalled front still will be causing issues for many areas with those very heavy rainfall totals. Now here's the NAM model rainfall forecast. As you can see, the NAM is showing and is really sort of highlighting that scattered nature of those storms, but it is showing much more widespread totals in northwestern South Carolina and also basically the western 2/3 of North Carolina, with many areas seeing 2, 3, maybe even 4 inches in spots. And in Virginia, it's showing a more isolated picture with isolated random downpours causing heavy rainfall totals in a few locations. And any location that gets caught under a very heavy downpour in the next few days will have the pretty elevated risk of seeing some flash flooding. And now, on top of that, this is what's already fallen in the past 3 days. As you can see, many pockets seeing 3, 4 inches of rain. For example, here 3.68 inches just south of Winchester, and pockets of 1, 2 inches of rain widespread through North Carolina and Virginia. And then you have some areas that have lucked out, actually, not really seeing much rain. But those areas should all slowly start to fill in as we start to see that stationary front lead to more and more heavy rain. Now here is the European ensemble. This is the EPS 500 millibar geopotential height output model. And this is valid for August 17th. So this is for this Monday. So this is a few days away. And you can see that the EPS ensemble, so this is not just one model run, the EPS ensemble, which is a collection of multiple models, is showing some very pronounced ridging and some very pronounced troughing. So it's pretty good confidence based on just how significant this, or the extent of the troughing and ridging, that we are going to see some pretty warm temperatures in the western coast and western part of the country starting on Monday, and a nice trough starting to develop in the eastern half of the United States, bringing cooler temperatures, lower humidity, and a fall-like feel. The first time we've had that in a while, and so this is the first true trough of the season, and it's a sign that boreal summer is finally starting to come to an end, and that fall is on the doorsteps. Now here is a GEFS ensemble showing pretty much the same thing. This is for August 15th. If we go through time, you can see that the GEFS is essentially a carbon copy of the European model, a bit stronger in the trough, which I'm not buying. The GEFS does tend to be a bit biased towards overdoing the cold air, but regardless, you get the point that both models are showing the potential for a very significant trough, or not significant, but very substantial trough for this time of year, delivering some much needed cooler air and lower humidity values, which will help to dry things out after this very unsettled past 2 weeks, which has dumped large amounts of rainfall. Now here is the GEFS ensemble 200 millibar velocity potential anomaly, and so the past week or so, we've seen sort of a break from any tropical activity. We're not really seeing too much, but besides Josephine, which is not really a threat to the United States. And this is for August 21st. So the velocity potentials are going to be relatively unfavorable for wave development off of Africa until about August 21st. By this date, if you look to the left of the model chart, you can see this green shading is starting to take place in Africa, and that is going to really start to help initiate some wave development, and will allow for some systems to start developing, and for the risk off the Atlantic to really start to increase. And if we go through time, you can see that green shading really stays in place for a while on the African coastline and in the sub-Saharan African region. And this is really indicative of the increased risk that we're going to see over the next few days after the latter part of August. So I think after August 21st, we're really going to start to see that tropical activity ramp up, and especially by the beginning of September, which anyways happens to be the peak of the hurricane season. I think we're really going to see tropical activity increase, and the risk to the United States increase. Now, finally, here are some teleconnections which show why the trough and sort of reflect the confidence in this trough developing in the eastern part of the country and that ridging in the west. You can see the PNA is going to go sharply positive by the time we reach the 17th, coinciding with that troughing in the east. The NAO is going to go further negative, helping to build that troughing in the east. And finally, if you look at the EPO is also projected to go negative, which would favor troughing in the eastern United States. So that's it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below, and I'll see you next time.